Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unprejudiced. We just start now a new Unprejudiced, and we are gonna discuss in today's TV show about another situation happening in the educational system in Romania, in the special education system in Romania. And we're gonna discuss about the discrimination situations in the educational system and about the abuses we have in this system. And I also want to inform you that we have the European Gymnastic Championships, and we found heroes from the field that we will present in the next series. But as I mentioned earlier, today we are going to discuss about the special education in Romania, and we would like to talk about those abuses and what we can do not to have them repeated. And we have a university professor, Adrian Roșan, in our studio talking about this. We start. This is an official document that we would like to address to the Minister of Education in Romania in order to do something to prevent abuses and violence in this system. Stop the abuses. This is our message, and this is the message of the European Center for the Rights of Children with Disabilities, which says that children in the educational system are beaten, are aggressed, and we are going to discuss about this. We also have our colleague Bogdan Cristea having the news bulletin in our TV show today, and those are the subjects in the news bulletin presented by our colleague. And our colleague Raluca, she invites us in her kitchen because she's gonna prepare pizza for us today. How we can do something about our Romanian society in order to be more inclusive. And our colleague Mihai discussed about this at the psychiatry conference held in Cluj-Napoca. So we are going to discuss also about this, and you are going to meet Dudu as well, an autistic child, but his mother was very active, so Dudu is recovered now. And coming back to our subject now, our main subject, talking about the special education system in Romania. And I want to remind you that we have also sign language interpreting for our message to get to the deaf community as well. So as I mentioned, Adrian Roșan, professor at Babeș-Bolyai University. And Adrian, thank you for being with us. I was mentioned very big problems in the special education system in Romania, a lot of abuses and violence in this field. And you, within this department of special education within the university, you have this mission to prepare teachers for the educational system in Romania. So let's start with the beginning. We have to talk about professionals in this system. Yeah, and they go into this special education system, and we have to go to the causes. Why? We have to understand why this system has such problems. Because we assume that the personnel working in such institutions, we assume that they are trained. But unfortunately, the employment made by the Minister of Education in Romania, you would be very shocked if you would know that they don't have specialized personnel in such institutions, they don't necessarily have specialized personnel, so they didn't find another job, and somehow they managed to get into this system, even though they are not trained, and they lose control and they forget their role there. We cannot generalize, of course, because there are also professionals, but we have to look deeper. We have to look deeper in this system. We tried to make a study years ago, and we tried to identify the factors of such problems, but we were very criticized about this. We have to admit that there are also special schools where the situation is very good, but there are also places where there are a lot of problems. I just want to give you an example. This law number 6, defining the educational support. We have this law, but we don't have screening and diagnosis tools. So then we cannot do anything with this law. Again, I think we have this problem. We are not able to work in teams, unfortunately. It is very good to make advocacy and to put in the light those abuses and violences, but let's not generalize, because it's not a general practice. And we can be trapped on this idea that we cannot do inclusive education in Romania because of those problems in the special system. Yes, it is correct what you say. We presented many situations like this of abuses in the educational system, and that's why we would like to understand the causes. What happened, ladies and gentlemen? Let's see what happened, and now we are coming back. After that, we are coming back in the studio. Do you beat the kids? Yes, of course, all of us, everybody is beating those kids here. So after this news came into the media, the management set up a conference, a press conference, and they tried to say that is not true what those persons declared. One of the person in this institution, he tried to talk about those abuse, but the management says that it's not true. Nothing happened there. So we also had a commission just to verify those accusations, and when we'll finish this analyze, we'll inform you. Yes, I've seen in the media about the situation, so we sent somebody there to analyze the situation, and we are still analyzing, and we didn't manage to finish yet. Those are extraordinary people, so I don't believe this is true. And the management says that there were complaints in the past, but it's not quite true. So yeah, we had such problems in the past, but nothing happened in the school. Everything happened in the family. This person that talked about this abuse, he was threatened and he was forced to retract the accusations, but he didn't want to do so. So the authorities are now making analysis about this situation, and maybe the police will be involved as well. We are back in the studio. Thank you very much for being with us. So the things started like this, and we are discussing with Adrian Roșan, Professor Adrian Roșan, and we try to analyze, to have a deeper understanding and the causes of this situation. And a very important thing, in my opinion, from what you mentioned already, is that the specialists, together with the people that they have the role of monitoring the situation, they should not be separate in different groups. They should cooperate. Why they cannot cooperate? To make disability awareness, you need significant persons, you need models, you need successful models, authentic, successful persons. And we need those people. We need those advocacy projects, but unfortunately it was not enough. This advocacy just divided in white and black, in good and in bad, just created two separate parts. And unfortunately, the Ministry of Education, they had in the last years no coherent program for the training of the special education professionals. They had no training program for the specialists, at least in the biggest university center like Cluj, like Timișoara, like Iași. It was not a national policy. And this could be a cause. And then second, this training of the specialists is a big problem. You cannot create them just in few months, just having trainings in just few months. You need more than this. Because if you do so, then he's gonna go there in the classroom being unprepared. Another cause that was signaled by the NGOs in Romania was something that also CRPD is mentioning. We have to take into consideration the neurocognitive specific of those disabled children, and they have to be addressed separately, not globally. And when we talk about inclusive education, but we don't have therapeutical services for those, we cannot talk about inclusion. So we hear a lot the slogan of inclusion, but if you don't have intervention services to address those issues, then we cannot have a real discussion about this. And I can give you other examples like that, like this. So then you have this special education as a Cinderella of the educational system in Romania. But we need a serious analysis here. And we need to collaborate more, to stay at the same table and at the national level to have a coherent curricula and a coherent discussion about inclusive education. It's such a pity that we cannot collaborate. with the others. And we have to identify immediately the institutions where there are abuses and violence, and to be immediately eliminated, but we have to build up a network of good practices. And yeah, I'm coming again at the lack of cooperation and the lack of partnership. And that is why we don't have coherent policies in this field. You need specialists having competencies in this field, and they have to know that they have to take into consideration the best decision for the child, and this decision has to be communicated to the child, to the parents, to the personnel working with the kids. And those things usually not happening. They're not happening. This is a systemic problem, and we have the special education system as a Cinderella in Romania, and unfortunately there are a lot of beneficiaries being hidden in this system without any resources. So let's go to the continuation of the story that we presented, and then we are coming back. Stay with us. And you see in the images abuse scenes. The child starts crying, but the teacher doesn't stop. This is the way they do education in this institution. And this is happening in Bucharest, the capital of Romania. And yes, there are some personal members that they admit that there are abuses in that school, but when the media came there, he changed his declaration and he said that it's not true as well. I said that they deserve, but that they are not beaten. So yeah, I didn't say actually that this is happening in our school, but we have in the school a commission analyzing the situation. So this is what the authorities are keep saying, that they are going to analyze the situation and they are going to come back with the conclusions. If we would really have in Romania a real democracy, then the Minister of Education in Romania would have resigned after such a situation. And then again, the authorities are saying that they are going to analyze very carefully this situation, and they are going to come back with the conclusions when they will finish all this research. The NGOs, they ask for video monitoring of the schools after this incident. We are back in the studio and we continue the discussion with our professor Adrian Roșan from the Special Education Department within the university in Cluj. That's a very big problem of the educational system in Romania, which wants to be inclusive, but somehow it cannot be, and there are a lot of barriers, and some of them coming from the inside, from this team that should work. Yes, that's another cause of this situation, the team inside the school which is not working, and unfortunately we don't have coherent evaluation of the teams in Romania, of the specialist teams in Romania. Usually you have a coordinator, but the coordinator is a boss, and like this the things are not working. Once again I'm saying this. So we don't need bosses, we need coordinators according to the needs of the school, and we should not forget that those children are children with special needs.
de o parte, copiii, de exemplu, cu tulburări specifice de învățare sunt cu cerințe educaționale speciale, dar nu recunoaștem chestiunea asta ca o dizabilitate.
We are talking about special children, and they need special treatment and special interventions to address their problems. We also wanted support teachers in the classes, but it's very difficult to have this kind of help. And unfortunately, we don't have these support teachers, and all the work has to be done by the main teacher in the class, which is, I don't know, math teacher or language teacher, and he doesn't have specific preparation in order to address the needs of the special education children. So we have to create those jobs of support teachers, of enough support teachers in the system, because we have, but they are just few. And I don't want to talk in medical terms of the disabilities because I know CRPD did a paradigm shift, but we really need those resources, very, very well prepared teachers and support teachers in Romania. There is another problem. We have for each and every disability in Romania we have a law, but we don't have a coherent and unitary law, and that's the problem. In the United States they have IDEA, which is a coherent policy, and they have regulations regarding the training of the teachers, but unfortunately in Romania we don't have such thing, and if we don't generalize the training and the behavior of the teachers, then you could try to do inclusive education, but it's not going to work. You will just do surveillance in the special education system in Romania as long as we don't train the teachers in this field. Yeah, so when we don't fix this training problem, we are not going to be able to solve the inclusive education. Inclusive means me and you to have the same goal and to do things together. As you mentioned earlier about the US model, I also found in the UK abuse stories and problems in the UK, and alarming situation in residential care in the United Kingdom. So Romania, it's not a singular case, but also BBC documented such problems in the residential care in the Great Britain, where persons with disabilities they have abuses, and as you can see, the person is violent and causing traumas to the persons there. That's not a specific Romanian problem. So have a look. This kind of abuses that are in many places in this world, but in such a situation in Romania, the authorities they are going immediately trying to solve the situation. So not like in the Romania, because there they have this kind of emergency units taking action immediately. So Adrian, I would like to comment together those images. Yes, you are right. You are right that Romania is a bit behind other countries because of communism and because of the problems that we still inherit from that moment, but we have this kind of abuses everywhere. And they are made by people that they forget their role there. They are not prepared for this job. maybe they have a problem of emotional balance, and maybe they are in the situation that they don't like their own job, so they get into this kind of frustration situation and they lose the control, so you have those abuses. We should not be happy that we have such abuses in other countries as well, but not to spend a lot of time. Not to spend a lot of time, we need to learn something from their practice.
Părerea mea, și asta de foarte multe ori am încercat să comunic acest lucru dinspre departamentul de psihopedagogie.
I many times tried to communicate this to NGOs, to professionals. We have to rebuild together this professional experience and to work in teams to see how we can contribute, each and every of us, because if we don't create alternatives, we can stay here and comment that there are problems in this system. Of course, there are problems in the system, but we have to do something in order to eliminate those problems. So yeah, we have to do something as a national political, coherent political strategy. Maybe to take some inspiring stories from other laws from other countries that they are working already and where the situation is already working. So we should not just copy and paste laws, but we have to take what is good in their system and to see how we can implement in Romania, because otherwise the things are not gonna fit, and we cannot, as I mentioned, take everything, but some core points, I think we can have them. We have to overtake this mentality that a disabled child cannot be in a mainstream class, then will be in segregation and in isolation, and we are not gonna talk about inclusive education. Yeah, so then we'll have separation. And this happened already in other institutions. And for us at Unprejudiced, we documented those stories of two separate groups. And yeah, now we are gonna see news.